former Fulton County District Attorney and Sheriff.
Formerly a judge, and he knows a little bit about how these things go.
From Mohawk Valley, legal eagle, lawman.
He is the Sheriff of Fulton County, New York. Just such an amazing guy.
This is the Rich Giardino Show, where the Constitution, crime, and politics meet.
Hey, welcome to the Rich Giardino Show, where the crime, the Constitution, and politics meet. We have a special guest tonight, Tom Elwood. Tom is the director of a new program that started this summer called Vet to Vet. It's run in Johnstown, New York, and it's through the Fulton and Montgomery County Mental Health Association with sponsorship from the Dwyer Foundation, which is named after an Iraqi war medic, Joseph Dwyer, who lost his life to suicide. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully what Tom's doing with this program and the others who are on it. It's a peer-to-peer program. I want you, if you don't have one of these programs in your communities, to think about reaching out to Tom and the Mental Health Association in Fulton and Montgomery County, upstate New York, and adopting a program like this for your area. It's so important. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
I want to thank you first for your service yourself, and I appreciate it. Can you tell us a little bit about, well, let's start with this. Taking one's life, we don't call it suicide. You try not to call it suicide anymore. What is the preferred definition that we use now?
Well, basically, it's somebody who takes his own life. I mean, death by suicide is kind of what we go with. Suicide
is the silent killer of veterans and active duty military. This unique program, it's directed by Tom Elwood, is based in Johnstown and Montgomery County, Fulton and Montgomery County, New York. It's sponsored by the Mental Health Association of Fulton and Montgomery County through a grant from, based upon an individual who committed suicide because he didn't have the support system and he was active duty. So, Tom, tell us a little bit about how you became involved, your background, and how this program started this past summer.
Well, I served in the Army National Guard in the Army from 2004 to 2012. I did a tour in Iraq, 2009 to 2010. After that, I had a little bit of trouble readjusting to, the civilian culture. But, just as all the other vets out there, we just went to work. We got out of the service and went to work and just kind of blended in with society. As I moved forward, I always felt like there was something lacking. And, when I saw this job opportunity, I was like, this is perfect. I mean, I would do a lot with the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And that was all volunteer basis. And now I'm actually able to do something I really enjoy and, make a difference, hopefully.
Yeah. And this is a peer-to-peer program rather than professional counselors. It's peer-to-peer because they've been through it and understand. As I said before, we attribute 22 deaths a day to veteran suicide and another approximately 8,000 total for the year. It's the silent killer of veterans and those who serve. And two things struck me as interesting is I've had other guests on in the past. And one thing is that a lot of the veterans who commit suicide are 50 years and older. And
That's correct.
And that part of that is just because they feel that they've been left behind or forgotten. And then the other thing is I'm noticing a trend that there seems to be a lot of medics who were the front line dealing with all the injuries and deaths that they saw. So you care to explain a little bit about the dynamics that we see in who may be taking their own life because of the stresses when they return to civilian life?
Well, there's all kinds of different numbers out there. If you look at veterans who deployed to veterans who did not deploy, the non-deployed veterans is actually 48% higher than the deployed soldiers. And yes, over 5,540 veterans that are over 50 years old are the ones that are taking their lives. And from what I've read and from people I've talked to, the reason is that their age, they feel like, well, nobody remembers my service. Nobody remembers why I served, and I'm old. Who's going to miss me? I mean, that's basically what the older generation's feeling. The difference between a combat veteran and a non-combat veteran plays a role, but at the same time, the ones who didn't deploy are dying by suicide just as much as the ones that did deploy.
And one of the things that we talk about is military people who've been in combat, and even if you haven't been in combat, there's certain stressors that play a role. But like law enforcement, EMS, and fire, when you see so much tragedy on a day-to-day basis, young children getting killed in bizarre accidents or killed by others, or you see car accidents and you have to tell families that their loved one's not coming back, those kind of stresses build up inside. And most of the law enforcement, EMS, keep that to themselves. And later on, we see a rise in divorces. We see a rise in alcoholism. We see some who've suffered injuries become addicted, obviously, to painkillers. So a lot of factors play similar to veterans in the law enforcement arena and public safety, which is sad because there's usually more, we have a resilience. You know, the military people are inbred with certain resilience that they bounce back up, as is law enforcement. But I think it's catching up to people as we progress in this country, that like you said, you know, the over 50s, like nobody remembers what I did or what I went through, or nobody understands it. So when you do, now you were at the VFW post, were you a commander, or what do they call it at the post, and which post were you involved in?
I was commander of post 3275 in Fort Plain. I was commander there for about 4 years, and I'm currently the quartermaster now.
Okay. So how does the program work? How do if I'm a veteran in distress, or if I'm active duty home, or if I'm a reservist and I'm having some stressors, how do I get a hold of you, and what do we do? Walk us through what happens with the
Well, basically, say if you're a veteran in crisis, first of all, my number one thing there is to call the crisis line. Any veteran can call a crisis line. The number is 988, and you press 1 for veterans. And you can also text message that number for the crisis line, and you text 838-255, and you'll be able to text with a professional. And that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Anybody in crisis, and it doesn't necessarily mean end of life crisis. It could be just a crisis where you don't know what to do. You can still contact this number. For me, I am here right now from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, and that's on 128 West Main Street in Johnstown.
What's the phone number that we can put? Because we'll post the number and the address. What's the phone number or email that you use so people can reach out?
People can reach out to me at 518-775-9428. And then my email address is vppd@mhafm.org. And then, email me, text message me, call me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
I just got to do a quick plug, and then we'll go continue with our conversation. You're listening to the Rich Giardino Show. I'm Rich Giardino, your host. It's where crime, the Constitution, and politics meet. Our guest today is Tom Elwood, who runs a vet-to-vet program, which is peer counseling for veterans, active duty, reservists, and retired who have a crisis in their life, contemplating suicide, hurting themselves, or just need a hand for that day. And it's not run as professional counselors. It's peer-to-peer, as we said. It's based in Fulton and Montgomery County, New York. I hope that you take from this show today that if there's not a program like this in your community, that you adopt a program like this and you reach out to Tom, or you reach out to the Mental Health Association and get more information. Again, please like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, X, and Rumble to this program. We try to be educational as well as informative, and today's program is just that, educational and informative. So when somebody comes in off the street, let's say that they're having not a crisis that rises to the level that you want to get them down to a mental health facility, but just they're struggling. How do you handle it from there? Do you assign another vet, or do you yourself, do you do groups? Like, what kind of things are you doing with the veterans?
Well, right now, being we're just starting the program, it's just me right now with the vet-to-vet program. So any veteran can come in here at any time, and we'll spark up a conversation. If you feel more comfortable sitting outside at the park, we'll go to the park and talk. If you're just if a veteran is just tired and needs to chill out, relax, I've got a foosball table, I've got an Xbox TV. They can come in here and chill out, and I could leave them alone if that's what they want. If they just needed their space, time to take a breather, they're more than welcome to do that, or they can come sit and talk with me, and I'll listen.
Now, my friends from the Servicemen's Club in Mayfield told me that you've reached out to them and some other groups. And do you stop in regularly, or is it just to let them know you're available?
Well, right now, tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the Gloversville American Legion, where we have coffee and conversation, we call it. Okay. So tomorrow we're in Gloversville, and that's the third Monday of the month. And the second Monday of the month, we're up at the Mayfield Service Members Club, where we have our coffee and conversation. The Daughters of the Revolution have been great. They supply us with all fresh made pastries. We usually get a group about 10 veterans in there, and we just talk about life, talk about service, anything that's bothering anybody, or just have a good time.
Yeah, we in this country are confronting a problem where we have many veterans who become homeless, have mental health issues, don't get the services they need. And now it's kind of compounded a little bit because now they're competing with illegal immigrants in some of the bigger cities for services and for funding. And it's really a shame because we all too often treat veterans like they're disposable. And I think that programs like this, and I think the country as a whole is starting to realize that there's a lot of people out there who've served us to give us these rights that we have under the Constitution. So I think that's important. I think that the reaching out to these groups is critical. So if there's any veterans listening or friends of veterans or family, if you have somebody who you think, and you don't have to approach it like that they're going to hurt themselves, because not all veterans who need help are going to hurt themselves. Many of them may just be experiencing a temporary situation, some depression, some anxiety. They might be having other issues that you might not realize at the time, but it was related to their service. And they can reach out to Tom at Vet to Vet in downtown Johnstown, or through the Mental Health Association of Fulton and Montgomery County. So that's important. Can you tell us a little bit though? Is my sense right about like these medics seem to carry a lot with them? Because I've noticed that I hear more and more stories about people who were medics who were committing suicide and harming themselves. And I think maybe they've just seen so much that other people can relate to.
Yeah, when you take an experience like that as a combat medic on patrol, their number one goal is the protection or safety of the health of our troops. When they see the worst of everything, they try to put everybody back together, and sometimes they can't. It's no different than an EMT or a paramedic or a nurse in the field. They're reacting to something tragic, and 5 minutes later, that tragedy's gone. They're moving on to the next one. So they're constantly moving from tragedy to tragedy and never really getting that opportunity to vet to somebody that understands it. So that kind of harbors and festers over the years. And it just, from what I was told by people that have done career-wise like that, says during my career, never thought about it. Just kept going from mission to mission to mission to mission. It's that time where the downtime comes. Now they don't have another mission to go to. They're just home. And that's where, a lot of the troubles lies, those years and years and years of pent up tragedy. It just comes out one way or another.
Yeah, I don't think people realize either how much the veterans still do. I'll tell you, the American Legion Post in Gloversville, the American Legion Post in Broad Alban, the VFW in Broad Alban, the VFW in other areas. And I'm speaking, of course, to Fulton County. I can't speak for Montgomery County because I don't know all those. But the Servicemen's Club, they've supported us in law enforcement. They've supported us with our canine program. They do a canine walk every year. They've supported us with Hicks Foundation, which we'll talk to the Hicks of their son committed suicide, died of suicide while he was active duty. And the military kind of brushed it aside, and a little bit of not a cover up, but a little bit of reluctance to disclose everything that happened. And so those just compound the tragedies. But I have to thank the veterans agencies that have always helped us. The American Legion veteran gives money every year to the sheriff's PBA to help buy gifts and backpacks. Walmart, a corporate sponsor, helps us as well. But it's just so, they're still giving back. The veterans are still giving back when they get back here, and people don't even realize. They also sponsor people who've been in crisis, family of veterans who've gone through fires, people who've lost their spouses. They've helped fund emergency assistance to them. There's also programs in Saratoga County which provides beds for homeless veterans who may have mental health issues. So there's a lot of services out there. It's a matter of getting the word out. And I want to thank you for what you do with Vet to Vet, because it's such a necessary thing to be out there and to be active. And you've only been in existence several months now, but you must surely start to feel some of the rewards and the benefits of giving. Can you tell us about, some of those, what you've experienced and the positive of bringing people back to support them in the way they needed support?
One thing that sticks out in my mind a lot of times is a veteran will come in to the office and you can kind of see like pain in their face, and be it if we sit down and watch TV together, or if we, play a game of foosball or whatever, by the time that individual leaves, 9 times out of 10, he's smiling or she's smiling, that it's that little bit of, how can I help you today? What do you need right now? I'm not so much worried about the tragedy and what happened, but what can I do to help you now? Do you need a sandwich? Do you need another coat? Do you need something? Through the MHA and through the other organizations around here, like the Johnstown Food Pantry, we have resources right here in the community that a lot of people don't know about, a lot of veterans don't know about. But, just seeing a smile on somebody's face that otherwise doesn't have one, that's one heck of a reward.
Yeah, folks listening to this, if you are a veteran, a family member of a veteran, if you're active duty or reservist and you're home, if you want to help out Tom and his mission and the Mental Health Association of Fulton and Montgomery County, reach out to Tom, because he can always use more hands on deck to do the peer-to-peer counseling. If somebody gave you a hand, give it, they say pay it forward, give somebody else a hand and help out. He can always use more people supporting it and getting the word out. And again, the thing is, and Tom and I have talked a few times now, you're not going to be asked to do stuff above and beyond what you want to do. And what I mean by that is, if you say, hey, I can give you a couple hours a week and hang out, and if somebody comes in, do something, or I could transport a vet if they don't have a ride somewhere, or I can help you in this way. Anything like that would be welcome to our local program. Tom, before we wrap up, is there anything that I didn't ask you? Can you give us your number again and the location of the Vet to Vet Center?
Yeah, my number is 518-775-9428. And I'm located right on 128 West Main Street in Johnstown.
And that's upstate New York, not to be confused with Johnstown, Pennsylvania. If anyone's out that way, I want to thank you. Is there anything I didn't mention that you want to mention that to make the point of what you're doing and what the program's doing?
Well, basically, I want everybody to realize that we're here for every veteran. We're here for reservists. We're here for guard. We're here for active duty. Anybody who's ever worn the uniform for our country, any branch of service, any rank, it doesn't matter. We're all in this together. Our mission, our job here, our motto is continuing the mission of life together. Just so all the veterans, service members know out there, you're not alone when you come home. We're here. There's lots of us around. We're just hard to find sometimes.
But it's like you said, it's so important. They come home and so many people feel that the service is done because they're back in the country. Yeah. Or they're back home in their communities. It's not. They're still suffering, and the service that they did over there doesn't end. The memories of it and the good and the bad things they've had to do. So I urge you, we just had Veterans Day behind us. Thank a vet, thank individuals supporting veterans. Stop by your local VFW American Legion if you want to donate something to help others who've served. Anything is welcome. There's always needs, support the events that they hold, for their people. And I want to thank Tom Elwood. with Vet to Vet, located in Johnstown, New York. And I urge you, if you have somebody in crisis or somebody who just needs a helping hand, have them reach out. Google it and have them reach out to Tom. I also, thank a vet. Please take time. Like I always say when I wrap up, thank law enforcement, thank a dispatcher, thank an EMS worker or firefighter, a jail guard, corrections officer, probation, parole. Thank them, but thank a vet. And so many of the people who do serve me at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office are former military people, and they make excellent employees. And they're giving again this time. They're giving on the domestic side. So you've been listening to the Rich Giardino Show today with special guest Tom Elwood, who runs Vet to Vet program. Please share this, subscribe, and like on X, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and other premium channels. Thanks for listening.
Like and subscribe to The Rich Giardino Show, part of the Elite Influencer Network, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time on The Rich Giardino Show, where the Constitution, crime, and politics meet.